Yum!
Have you guys seriously never heard of doughnuts?
There is no question that Krispy Kreme has one of the best donuts hands down. However, not many people know that behind this donut and the founder, there are a lot of interesting stories that keep this company in the news. They have been sued, they have no idea where the original donut came from, and they are now so popular that their donuts have become a staple in baked goods. It seems as though Krispy Kreme has gotten themselves wrapped up in a little bit of drama over the years.
Boy, drama.
So here are the top 10 untold truths of Krispy Kreme.
Boy, a Krispy Kreme would really clean up down here.
The Krispy Kreme smell is that intoxicating.
That's good.
We can all agree that the smell that comes off of a Krispy Kreme donut is intoxicating. It can literally change people's plans. Sitting in your car, driving to one place, and ending up stopping for a donut is typical. Even founder Vernon Rudolph knew that he had a golden ticket with this smell. Once he realized how amazing and tempting the smell of his donuts was, he made the ultimate executive move. He cut out the middleman and started selling his donuts straight from the factory that they were made in. His donuts were initially only sold in grocery stores, which means no hot off the line, no fresh and hot sign, and no experiencing how amazing these pillow-like donuts are in their prime state. People began to stop by the factory to get the donuts, and Rudolph soon realized he had no need for the grocery stores. So not only was he providing a better donut, he was making more money by pocketing what he would have to pay the grocery stores. If that's not a smart businessman, then we don't know who is. The smell alone allowed Rudolph to turn a simple recipe into a huge million-dollar business.
I'm a millionaire. That's the difference.
Intoxicated by this video? Then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and tap that bell to join our notification squad.
Welcome to our home.
Are we just eating potatoes?
Oh, potato! Way to go, buddy! That's my guy!
For decades, people have been trying to crack the recipe behind these delectable donuts. Their iconic flavor has been a topic of discussion, and the only person who knows the true recipe is in no hurry to give it up, not to mention no longer with us. For more than 80 years, Vernon Rudolph, the founder of Krispy Kreme, has been making millions off of his glazed covered dessert. Will he ever spread the love? Probably not. Even after he passed, his son Carver went on a mission with a historian to track down the original recipe. The two ultimately discovered that it consisted of a cream of fluffed egg whites, mashed potatoes, sugar, shortening, and skim milk that was chilled and mixed with flour and then fried and covered in glaze. However, Carver said as smart as his father was, he is sure he doctored the recipe in an effort to make the batter stretch for the number of people he was feeding. Mashed potatoes in a donut? Maybe these are healthier than we thought. It would definitely explain why they're so darn good. Mashed potatoes are really tasty, so a donut made of mashed potatoes would taste even better.
More.
The people of Juarez, Mexico got way too hooked on Krispy Kreme.
I'm hooked.
Addiction isn't funny.
Sure it is.
The people of Juarez, Mexico essentially started a black market for the popular donut. The country was graced with a Krispy Kreme location and immediately got hooked. The location was closed down because the government saw how unhealthy it was for their residents. This, however, did not stop the people of Juarez, Mexico from getting their fix. A woman named Sonia Garcia and her two sons took it upon themselves to drive across the border to El Paso, Texas, to retrieve some donuts for themselves. However, they noticed the demand for the donuts in their country and came up with the very bright idea to sell them. They purchased donuts in bulk, 40 boxes to be exact. They would drive back home and sell each box at a 60% markup. When a local news station inquired about the popularity of the donuts and what makes them better than local donuts, Garcia said, "I don't know why, but these are just softer and better." Her idea became so popular that comedian Chris Rock based a joke off of it. He talks about how addicting these donuts are and the black market scandal it has caused.
Krispy Kreme's Cracky Kreme!
Krispy Kreme donuts are not as sugary as you think.
Just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
When it comes to sugar, many people assume that Krispy Kreme would be in at least the top 5. Their original donut tastes like they have so much sugar it would probably fill one person's sugar intake for the day. But guess again. Their original donut, which is their most popular, only has 10 grams of sugar per donut. Yes, we know you're thinking that that is still so high, and we agree it is. However, if you look at some of the other stuff you're taking in every day or even every few days, then this donut is nothing. Take Starbucks, for example. That unicorn frappuccino caused a craze. But if you actually took the time to read the nutritional value, you would know that it's basically death in a plastic cup. 59 grams of sugar is in one unicorn frappuccino. Don't worry, it's not just the fancy drinks, it's the regular ones as well. The basic coffee frappuccino has 50 grams of sugar, and the vanilla frappuccino has 69 grams of sugar. Keep in mind that this is just the sugar content. We aren't counting carbs or even total calories. It looks like in the long run, a single donut, which is satisfying enough, would be a better bet. This goes to show you that even though something sounds decadent, it could still be a better option.
What is that, Private Pile?
Sir, jelly donuts, sir!
A jelly donut?
Krispy Kreme throws away a lot of donuts. So many starving people in the world, and Krispy Kreme is just throwing away product? The thought that even one Krispy Kreme donut could be going to waste makes us sick to our stomach. They're just too tasty. In 2016, in the UK, a customer saw 50 bags of donuts being disposed of. Obviously, this is shocking. 50 bags, dear God, why not just make less? The customer, Chris Clues, said that he estimated about 200 donuts per bag. He estimated there were about 15,000 donuts being wasted in total. The company, however, blamed a glitch in the system as to why so many donuts were going to waste that day. Apparently, donating the donuts was not an option. In a statement released by the company, they said, any unsold or unacceptable quality donuts are recycled to be used as a component of animal feed. Krispy Kreme donuts are an occasional indulgent treat, and as such, do not have the nutritional values adequate to be a meal replacement. Therefore, we have concerns about giving donuts to people in need of proper nourishment. But wouldn't it be better than nothing?
Better than old bones, precious. Better than nothing.
Paula Deen uses Krispy Kremes to bake.
This butter be good.
The sugary donut has become so popular that it is the main ingredient in recipes now. Southern fried Paula Deen is known for loving everything that is bad for you. Her recipes are usually an abundance of butter, sugar, eggs, and whatever else she can pack into them. She now has an entire recipe based on the Krispy Kreme original donut. The recipe is bread pudding, but instead of bread, yep, you guessed it, she's using their signature donut. The recipe is featured on the foodnetwork.com website. Just reading it is making our sugar levels skyrocket.
Not one grain of sugar did I add.
No! Condensed milk, juice from canned fruit cocktails, 24 Krispy Kreme donuts. Yes, 24. To make it worse, or better, she tops it off with a rum butter sauce. The sauce alone contains an entire stick of butter, one whole box of confectioner's sugar, and dark rum. Paula Deen didn't come to play today. There's just so much going on with this recipe, we can't imagine how on board the company is with it. We also can't imagine that it would taste that great. How can you mask that great Krispy Kreme taste with all that other stuff?
Congratulations,
Paula Deen.
you've ruined
Donuts.
Krispy Kreme has been accused of selling fake fillings.
I realized that you were a fake friend.
Who would have thought that a donut chain could be sued by a regular Joe Schmo? Apparently, this is what happens when you lie. When the popular donut chain decided to roll out 2 new tasty flavors, they were pretty impressed with themselves. They advertised the flavors maple and blueberry, claiming that everything was all natural flavoring. In the present day, having something that has the label natural attached to it is a big deal.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Society no longer wants to eat fake food that has been directly linked to things like cancer and obesity. One woman, however, took this claim to a whole new level. Irina Agajanyan filed a class action lawsuit against the company. She claimed that the donuts do not contain blueberries or maple at all. Agajanyan specifically called out the glazed blueberry cake donut, glazed blueberry cake donut whole, maple iced glazed, strawberry iced, and strawberry iced with sprinkles. She claimed the donut chain was giving a false sense of nutrition. If she had known about the lack of nutrition, she would have never purchased their product. On one hand, we have to say eating a donut for nutrition is ridiculous. On the other hand, don't claim your product is made with natural ingredients when you darn well know they aren't. Regardless, her suit was dropped and she is probably still eating Krispy Kreme.
One little bite won't hurt you.
There is a Krispy Kreme challenge.
Are you challenging me to a walk-on? Boo.
There is a Krispy Kreme challenge, a running challenge. Yes, a fitness challenge, not something that is normally associated with a donut shop. The challenge consists of running 5 miles through Raleigh, North Carolina. However, the twist involves having to finish the race within 1 hour and consuming 12 donuts before the race ends. That is 2,400 calories and a hurt stomach later. We can't even imagine how many people throw up at the finish line. What's cool about the race is that it is run by students and the proceeds go to the North Carolina Children's Hospital. Obviously, Obviously, this race is meant to be silly and fun and not serious at all. Really, the participants are wearing crazy, attention-attracting outfits and really just look like they're having a good time. It's an annual race that has now garnered some negative attention. Apparently, in 2016, a man died doing the challenge. He was 58 years old and had stepped out of the race within the first mile due to chest pain. He was rushed to the hospital but ultimately passed away later that day. This forced the organizer to release a statement letting everyone know one of their most important rules. Only those who register as challengers are required to eat a box of donuts at the 2.5-mile mark before completing the last leg. All other participants can just jog their way, pastryless, to the finish line.
I have to finish the race.
Krispy Kreme tastes best at a particular temperature.
Krispy Kreme donut will make you wreck your car. Am I lying? You'll be riding down the street in that hot light, come on.
Ever wonder why your Krispy Kreme donut isn't tasting the greatest? The secret to their donut tasting its absolute best lies with the temperature. Apparently, right after coming out of the fryer and going through the glaze bath, the temperature of the donut is 120 degrees Fahrenheit. By the time the donuts are boxed up and shipped in that very moment, they are at their best. This is why the hot light exists. It's not to indicate that fresh donuts are being made, because let's be honest, fresh donuts are always being made. It's meant to indicate that this is the prime time to eat this set of donuts. To be honest, it's rare that we taste a Krispy Kreme donut that we haven't liked and ultimately devoured. This rule, by the way, only applies to the original glazed donuts. The donuts that are frosted and have a filling obviously need more time to prepare and cool before serving. Reportedly, they don't taste as good when fresh as the original glaze. At the end of the day, fans of the hot, fresh donut couldn't care less what time they came out of the fryer. A Krispy Kreme donut is a Krispy Kreme donut. But if you do care, there's an app for that now.
Seems these days there's an app for everything.
Doesn't it, though?
The Krispy Kreme recipe is a secret.
It's a secret.
Shut up.
The founder of the family-run company, Vernon Rudolph, has a story about how he obtained the recipe. Apparently, his uncle, Ishmael Armstrong, purchased the recipe from a French chef in New Orleans. Then there was a rumor that Vernon was the one who purchased the recipe. Then another rumor that Vernon inherited the recipe from a Paducah donut shop owner named Joe LeBeau. The one that seems most legit is the second one, claiming that Vernon was the one who purchased the recipe. However, we are only inclined to believe this because it is the one that is on the official Krispy Kreme website. Bottom line is, fans of the sugary donut have no clue where the donut recipe originated, and they have no clue what is in the recipe. Secret recipes are secret for a reason. All we know is the original glazed is one of the best tasting donuts in the world. Yes, we said the world. What sucks is we will always have to rely on them for the taste of this donut. We hope they never close their locations, because then how would we get our sugar fix?
Sugar slam!
Get in on the secrets that we deliver. Click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. And don't go anywhere. Check out some of our other great videos.